Great. Nice to meet you all.
So we're going to start the session now, and I'm going to spotlight your video, Linda.
Okay.
And so you can go ahead and introduce yourself and then give us a little bit more of a background.
Sounds great. Thank you, Darlene, and thank you for inviting me on your series. Good afternoon. My name is Linda Rodriguez. I am a semi-retired energy analyst. I have lived in Alum Rock most of my entire life. I grew up here, and I raised my family here. And I also have celiac disease, which is the reason why I cook gluten-free. So quick synopsis on celiac disease. Celiac disease is an immune disease in which people can't eat gluten because it does damage to your small intestine. And if you have celiac disease and you eat foods that have gluten in it, your immune system responds by damaging your small intestine, and you have various symptoms. Mine were migraines, weight loss, anemia, things like that. And it causes a host of other diseases. So for me personally, I believe I've had celiac disease my entire life, but was only diagnosed when I turned 50. I've always had symptoms that never resolved until I had a critical health crisis that finally came to this diagnosis. So here we are 5 years later, and now I embrace the gluten-free lifestyle. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle for most people that have celiac disease, and I feel much better. So moving on, for me personally, I like to do a couple things when we have meetings, even virtually. I like to mention safety. So wherever you are, be sure you're aware of the exits, and in the event of emergency, make sure you have a clear path. And as we are cooking, be sure that you have a fire extinguisher available. And if there is an earthquake, drop down and take cover, and stay inside until the shaking stops. If you cannot do that, please stand directly in a doorway. And if you're unsure of the severity of your emergency, please call 911. At the end of the show, I'm going to post the recipe and the directions in the comments on the Facebook page of the invite. And if you have any questions during this, please feel free to ask at any time. So let's get started and have fun. So first of all, this is a low-carb, gluten-free zucchini ravioli recipe. It contains no noodles. It's mostly vegetable-based. So it's very simple. Your ingredients are zucchinis is your base, olive oil, garlic, spinach, ricotta cheese, basil. You can either use fresh basil, or you can use the dry basil. I use the dry basil that you get from Costco. Or you can also use the pesto. Sometimes the pesto actually tastes really good because it has the mixture of the garlic in it as well. So it depends on what your preference is and how strong you like the taste of the basil. Use your salt and pepper. You're going to use some marinara sauce or some spaghetti sauce. Depends on which way you like to go. Personally, I've always used one of the spaghetti sauces like Prego to put on the bottom of the pan, and then some shredded mozzarella cheese. So first thing we're going to do is set your oven to 425 and get it to preheat while we're preparing everything. Next thing we're going to do is you're going to cut off the end of each zucchini. So you're going to cut off each end. Also, I wanted to mention, also, let me back up for a second. I talk really fast, so if I'm talking too fast, please feel free to interject and let me know, and I'll slow down. So one thing I always like to do is I always like to have an extra bowl just off to the side to put like any extra things, discards that you have. So I always keep that available just to put things in there. It makes it a little cleaner and easier to clean up. So cut off the ends of your zucchini like so. And I throw them in the bowl, and you have your zucchini like this. So I'm going to use 2 zucchinis for this one. And then you're going to slice, them. Now there's 2 ways to do it. You can either use a vegetable peeler, or you can use a mandolin. I have a mandolin. I like the way it slices better. If you don't happen to have a mandolin, the vegetable peeler works just as well. You just have to put firm pressure on it. So I'm going to use the mandolin, and let's see if you can see a little better. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to discard your first slice. So when you're doing it, make sure you have firm pressure, because as you know, most vegetables, they're not firmly straight. They're not, extremely straight. So they kind of have a curve to it. So when you put it on the mandolin, you want to make sure you have pressure on it when you do your slices. So you're going to put your first slice, and depending upon your mandolin, and how you want to use it. Mine in particular, it has different settings. I usually use it on the second one because you want to be able to have some give on it to make sure that you can fold it. And you want to make sure it's the straight slice and not the not the julienne. So discarded the first slice, and now I'm going to do the rest of them, and I'll show you how they come out in ribbons.
Have you ever used other types of zucchini?
Yes, I've used summer squash, the yellow one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little more watery, so you get a little more water in the mix when you're cooking it. But I actually like the taste. It's a little sweeter. It tastes a little better. Mm-hmm. This one has a little more consistency to stay together. So, so this one is a little bit more preferred for consistency, but I actually like the summer squash for taste. So here's the first 3 slices that you have. Let me finish using the rest of it. I have never tried any other squash besides these 2. The summer squash and the zucchini.
I got a squash the other day that my sisters got. I think they got it at Vegelution.
Uh-huh.
It was called I have to look it up. I don't even know what it was called. It was some weird looking squash I had never seen before.
Really?
Yes. And I had to look it up because I didn't even really know how to cook it. So I Googled it. I'll have to look it up again right now. Because I don't even remember, but it was so good. Oh my God.
Really?
It was tasty.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Now I'll have to find it right now. It was like a striped retail store. Oh, this is it right here. It's a delicata squash.
Delicata.
Love it. It was so tasty.
What color is it?
It's yellow, and I'm going to put a link.
Yeah, please.
And actually, I'll put the recipe that I use. It's such a simple recipe, too. And it was so good. And I think they said they got it at Vegelution.
Oh, nice.
Hopefully everybody knows about Vegelution. Do you guys know about Vegelution?
No.
Is that at Emma Prush?
Yeah, it's at Emma Prush Park, and it's a community garden that's there. And so it's a garden for like the local residents to go to. And what's great is they sell the vegetables too for really cheap price, but it helps support the program that's there, the Vegelution program.
Okay, so I'm done slicing. And as you can see, I got quite a few slices out of this. So now while these are sitting here, what we're going to do is we're going to make our spinach. We're going to make our spinach mix. So I'm going to bring you guys over here to the stove. And so I'm also a cook that I eye everything. I don't use exact measurements in recipes. I don't use exactly a teaspoon. I don't use exactly a tablespoon or exactly a cup. I kind of eye it, but it comes out to just about that. So, but I do use a recipe and I kind of follow along what it says, but I don't measure to exact measurements. So if you see me not measuring, that's the reason why, but I do use recipes. So give me just a second. Is there any questions so far? Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cook the spinach and get that to sit for just a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil into the pan. This is my olive oil. And I'm gonna add some garlic. And again, like I said, I eye everything. I don't use exact measurements, but I will be posting an exact recipe in the comments. And I use a lot of Costco items, so you'll notice that there. So you want to just heat the garlic for about a minute once your pan gets a little bit hot. And I usually set the temperature on medium high. And as you know, with spinach, spinach always comes nice and fluffy and it looks like you have a lot. By the time you cook it, it's going to look like almost nothing. So, so don't be intimidated by spinach because spinach just shrinks insanely when you cook it. Now, with these types of raviolis, you can add anything you want in it. I've made them with my family, our carnivores. My husband and my son, they like meat in it, so I've made them with beef before in them. I have made them without the spinach. So feel free to add and edit as you see fit. That works for you. I know a lot of people don't like spinach. My dad likes kale, so he added kale. So, you know, there's a variety of things that you can do with this. Okay, so the garlic is starting to cook. I'm going to add the spinach. So I pre-chopped the spinach. I think you guys can see it. You're going to just toss that around for a little bit. Just get that in there. And spinach is pretty much and that is pretty much all we're going to need for spinach. Need to cook for spinach. The rest of it is because the pan is already hot. It's going to cook the rest of it. So we're going to let that sit and cool. Coming back over here. And Darlene, thank you for putting those items that you discussed in chat. So you have a pan because you're going to be baking this. So it depends on how you want to make it. If you want to make them directly in the pan or if you want to make them and transfer them in the pan, it's entirely up to you. So you want to, and there's two ways to do it. I've made them both ways where you can do two, you can crisscross two, or you can also do it with one. The two helps to keep all the ingredients in. So you're going to want to make a cross just like that. Or you can also do it with where you do it just with one. The only thing is when you do it with one, the cheese oozes out in the corners. So that usually the two keeps everything in. So next step, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some of the other ingredients. We're going to get the ricotta cheese. And because this is a 15 ounce, I usually use just most of it, not all of it. Now, also for ricotta cheese, there's a lot of people do not like ricotta. My husband is one of them. So if you don't like ricotta cheese, you can also substitute for cottage cheese. Cottage cheese is a little less strong for those of you that don't like ricotta cheese.
Less flavorful.
Yeah, it is less flavorful. I like ricotta because I think it's a little smoother. And cottage cheese baked is not exactly on my top 10 list of things, but it works. So I think it's just, it depends. It's a matter of preference. Like I said, it just really depends. But ricotta, you know, for all intents and purposes, and being a little more on the Italian side, ricotta is the way to go. So we're going to add the ricotta. I'm going to put some basil in there. For this particular recipe, it asks for 2 tablespoons. Again, like I said, I just kind of eye it. I also, in a former life, I used to work for catering company in the hotels and the catering department for many years. So I'm used to cooking. So that's why I eye things pretty much. And salt and pepper. Again, salt and pepper to taste. I just add a little bit of salt.
You are Kirkland everything.
I am. And it's funny, we're only a family of 3 in the house, but we do use a lot of Kirkland stuff. Okay, let's see now, what do I need to add? Okay, now ready for the spinach. So just to show you, like I said, I only cooked the spinach for about a minute, minute and a half, and everything kind of cooked down. So now we're ready for it. And as you scoop it all together.
Well, this is a good Lent recipe.
I'm sorry?
This is a good recipe for Lent.
Oh yeah, it is. And put the spinach in. And this is what we have so far. There we go. And you're going to mix. So it takes a little while to get it all mixed together, especially if your ricotta has been in the fridge. So you want to get it to a fluffy consistency where everything is mixed well with the spinach. Now, another note about gluten-free eating, a lot of misconceptions is that it's a diet. It'll help you lose weight. Only if you eat whole foods based, meaning plant-based, protein-based. Not if you eat the breads or the off-the-shelf items, such as cookies, crackers, danishes, because something to note about gluten-free baked goods is that they use rice flours a lot, and rice flours are very heavy. So there's a lot of carbs that are included in these items. So while depending upon how you approach gluten-free eating, if you're eating, like I said, if you're eating stuff off the shelf, you're not going to lose weight. So just a little handy note there. So we have this all mixed up. And this is what the mixture looks like. There we go. And let me grab something. So what I use to use the mixture is a cookie scoop, and it comes out perfect every single time. So you get your cookie scoop, and I always level it off because I like it even. Make sure everything is in there.
Is that a Pampered Chef cookie scoop?
No, it is not. I was looking around. No, it's not. I don't remember where I got this from. I've had this for years. And put you down. Put it right in the middle. And what you're going to do is you're going to get the sides that of the of where you've just put your mixture. You're going to fold them up. You're going to get the other sides of the same the same length of the zucchini. You're going to fold them up. Then you're going to do the same as the other sides. And then you're going to turn it over. And here is your first ravioli. And then you just layer them in your pan. Oh, actually, first, I forgot the most important thing. First, you put your sauce on the bottom. Sauce on the bottom actually tastes more better because you get the sauce ingrained in your raviolis. So that actually works much better. So you put about a cup of it on the bottom.
So you knock I'm just seeing how you open your jar. You knock the jar lid or the side of the jar?
The jar lid.
Okay, yeah.
So see, I put some on the bottom, and then put the and then you just layer the raviolis inside. So let's do a few more.
Well, that looks pretty good, pretty easy. So what other stuff do you put inside? Have you ever put other stuff?
The raviolis? For this particular recipe, this is all I put because I've been going kind of veggie lately. But I've also used Italian sausage, beef. What else have I used? I haven't used seafood in them. I've used them without spinach.
Mushrooms seem like they would be good.
So different things. And we're going to fold them up. Fold and flip. You can also make them a lot smaller too.
And do you make like lasagna the same, like zucchini lasagna?
You can also make these. You can also use this to make lasagna. So I'm going to make one with just the onesies. Are you talking about gluten-free, darling?
Yeah, well, with the zucchini slices.
Oh, with the zucchini slices? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've done lasagna. What else have I done? Oh, my favorite, ratatouille. Love ratatouille.
I've never made ratatouille.
Oh, ratatouille is delicious. With you make it with zucchini, bell pepper, eggplant, and mushrooms. Oh, fantastic.
I like the movie.
I know, with a little rat. So this is how a single one looks without using the two.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So are you Italian, Linda?
No, Mexican and Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And
what's your Mexican gluten-free recipes?
Well, that's the fun thing. Being Mexican, there's a lot of gluten-free Mexican food. As long as the tortillas you're using, most notably corn, obviously, are gluten-free. So basic enchiladas, chilaquiles. What else do I make gluten-free? Mexican. Lately, we've been on a fish kick, so we eat a lot of fish. I haven't even been using Mexican. Oh, tortilla soup.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a lot of tortilla soup, a lot of soups, albóndigas.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much anything you can make, anything Mexican wise, you can make gluten-free, except burritos. The challenge I've had with tortillas in Mexican food is making white tortillas with the consistency of regular white tortillas. That's been a significant challenge, is making gluten-free white tortillas. They can be done, but they're thick. They're pretty thick. So it's a little bit of a challenge to get them to be thin, so you can make them into burritos. So I haven't been able to get a good gluten-free tortilla to make a burrito with. Let's see what else. So yeah.
And you don't like any of the Mission or Guerrero? I mean, I've never tried gluten-free tortillas, so I don't know.
Oh, good Lord, no. Oh, those things are hideous. A cardboard tastes better. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the off-the-shelf stuff, just because it's labeled gluten-free and it's on the shelf, especially when I first went gluten-free and I started trying it, oh my God, it was a journey into disaster. It was horrible. It was, especially when, for 50 years, you're used to eating a certain way. Yeah. And all of a sudden you have to eat a different way. And I'm a bread fiend. I love bread. You name it, I love it. Especially sourdough. I mean, and that was violently taken away from me. And I haven't been able to have it. The first time I had good gluten-free sourdough bread was literally about 2 weeks ago. I found a place actually in Morgan Hill where they made delicious gluten-free sourdough bread. So yeah, bread's been a challenge. Cakes I've been able to master. Oops, I forgot one on the bottom. But yeah.
What kind of flour do you use predominantly? Nut flours or?
Yeah, I've used some nut flours, but the consistency is grainy. Mm-hmm. That's a problem. I use mostly rice flours, tapioca flour, tapioca starch. I use flour blends from some of the more notable cooks. There's a blend from a couple of them, Gluten-Free Jules and Pamela's, that work really well in gluten-free cooking. I've tried coconut flour, but coconut flour does not work well unless you make it with another flour. Almond flour I'm allergic to, so I can't use that. And let's see, what else? There is cassava flour actually is not bad. But it's also a little grainy as well if it's not ground right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, some of the flours are really hard to work with. And they don't rise, even though you can put as much yeast as you want in it, but they don't rise because you have to use gums. So you have to use either guar gum or xanthan gum. So the gums keep the consistency from rising because they have to expand instead of rise. So that causes problems.
That's interesting.
So it's a bit, like I said, it's a bit of a challenge eating gluten-free. So my personal journey, I've had to, you know, in order for me to actually like food, I've had to eat more whole foods like these. Fishes, you know, proteins, things like that, a single ingredient or, you know, under 5 ingredient foods. Off the shelf stuff has just not tasted good, so I've had to stay away from it. Yeah, it's been definitely not fun. But you can make food fun if you know, if you can just see your way around it. Something also is, previous to getting diagnosed, I loved craft beer. Loved craft beer.
It has wheat in it, yeah, some of it.
And it has wheat. A lot of it has wheat, rye, or barley. So I had to give all that up. Now I've learned to like ciders. You know, another fun fact about having to be, you know, having celiac disease is your body products have a lot of them, you would not believe, have gluten in them. So I've had to change all my makeup, all my body products, even toilet paper. Back when I needed it, feminine products had the gluten in them. So I had to change all that.
Toilet paper?
Toilet paper. Yeah. You would not believe.
You guys can ask whatever questions you want because we're a small group. If you have comments or questions, you could just unmute yourself.
So yeah, toilet paper, though, that was a big surprise. I had to change all my my shampoos, everything. But yeah, it was very.
Is there talc? Does talc have flour in it?
No, cornstarch.
So cornstarch doesn't have flour in it?
No, cornstarch is different. It's fine. But when you use, but like some toilet papers, I forget the brand. Scott at one time was using wheat because the thing about wheat is that a lot of companies use it because it gives, when they use a component of wheat or gluten, it makes things not stick. So that's why a lot of companies like to use it. So like with toilet paper, it makes their products, if they, you know, dust it with wheat for whatever reason or whatever component, it makes it not stick. Now, for those of us that have celiac disease, it causes a whole, you know, composite of problems. You know, you can't have it on your body because even though it's caused by ingesting it, when you're allergic to it and you're, you know, because I'm also allergic to it. So being, you know, having celiac disease, I'm also allergic to it. You know, you break out in rashes. It causes hives. It causes all kinds of other host of problems. So you got to go completely cold turkey and get rid of everything gluten around you. So it's definitely a challenge.
Well, I'm more and more thankful every day that I can eat gluten now. I have to say.
Oh, you must be, because let me tell you, I miss it. I miss it a lot. My husband and son are not gluten-free. They eat mostly gluten-free with me, but every so often they want their occasional bread. Yesterday, my husband got some sourdough from Costco, and he was eating a slice for dinner, and I just wanted to punch him really hard. It looks so good.
Judy, what are you making back there?
I just went.
Actually, I'm packing up dishes, and we're trying to clear out my father-in-law's house. So,
oh yeah, you mentioned that.
So I'm trying to listen and do this at the same time.
Go ahead.
I didn't. I just looked. All the way down.
Putting some mozzarella on top. It tastes really good with the mozzarella. And then you want to get this to a consistency where it's fork worthy. So you cook it for 25 minutes in the oven.
So you put the mozzarella and then the sauce on top?
You put the mozzarella, you put the sauce on the bottom, and then you put the mozzarella on top.
Oh, you don't put
sauce on top, no.
Oh.
Because the raviolis, they shrink down, and then they incorporate into the sauce. So here they are. Don't know if you guys can see them. I don't want to lean the pan too much.
Yeah, we can see it.
There you go. And you put it in the oven for 25 minutes and you're good to go. So does anybody have any questions? It looks like we have an addition.
Yeah, somebody came in. I don't know who. I saw somebody come in. Anyways, no, that's about it. Oh, that's interesting to know, actually, all the gluten-free stuff, because I wasn't aware of that. I have a couple cousins that have that.
Yeah, it's a different lifestyle. It's not impossible to live, but it's
well, you can eat tamales.
Oh yeah, definitely you can eat tamales as long as they don't have, well, you know what's interesting is that I've had to actually ask when I go to restaurants pre-COVID if they've used flour in their tamales, because some restaurants actually do.
Yeah, they put it in their masa.
They put it in the masa because it gives it more of a lighter texture. Way back when I first started going gluten-free, I know one time we went to El Torito's and I asked, you know, do they have a gluten-free menu or do they have gluten-free items? They said there's not a single thing on their menu that is gluten-free.
Really?
Yeah.
I would check out Adelita's. Have you gone to Adelita's restaurant?
No, I haven't.
It's where is Adelita's? It's like in the little, past Little Glen. I'll look it up right now. But anyways, they have a really good menu, particularly for everybody. Vegans, they have a whole separate menu for vegans and vegetarians. Like
nice.
Full menu, like all kinds of items. And we went there originally because my sister's vegan, which makes it difficult.
Yeah, my son is vegan too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
very difficult. Yeah,
it makes it very difficult. Vegans are actually harder to feed than someone like me, gluten-free.
Yeah, so they have a really extensive menu for people with food issues, basically.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling somebody in that family probably has food allergies or something, because I've never seen such an extensive menu. Really?
Oh, yeah. Interesting. Adelita's, huh?
It's Adelita. It's on Kurtner Avenue, and their food was very good. It's all Mexican food. They have a lot of really good food there. But yeah, I've never seen such an extensive. They have a whole separate menu, and it's not like 5 items. It's a full menu.
Oh, nice.
For people with different food issues.
Yeah.
So I would recommend if you guys want to go there.
Great. Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's about it. So thank you so much. It's actually almost 2 o'clock already. It went by really fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so if you guys don't have any questions, let's just thank Linda for her time and for teaching us. You guys can unmute yourselves if you want.
Yeah, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for your attention. And Darlene, and thank you again for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'll start this up. If any of you guys want to teach classes, let me know. I'll probably start it back up in the fall sometime. We'll start it again. All right. Great. Okay, bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
Linda. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Darlene.
Bye.
Bye-bye.